fiber to fabric. Variety in fabrics. Today, we will study what fabrics are made up of. We all wear different kinds of clothes. Some are made up of cotton, some of silk, and others could be made from synthetic materials. We know that rotis or chapatis are made from flour, book from paper, articles from metals, so on. Have you wondered what this fabric is made up of? Well, let us perform a small activity to see what a particular fabric is made up of. Take a piece of fabric. Try to find a loose thread and slowly pull it out. This thread is called as yarn. You must have observed that at times it gets difficult to thread a needle. The reason being that the ends of the thread or the yarn are split. These fine structures are called as fibers. Now, we know that fabrics are made up of yarn, and yarn are made up of fibers. The fibers are obtained from two sources: natural, that is from plants and animals, and synthetic, that is artificially made. Let us try to name a few fibers obtained from plants and animals. That is correct. Cotton, jute are obtained from plants, while silk and wool are obtained from animals. How about the synthetic fibers? Well, synthetic fibers are ones that are neither obtained from plants or animals. Example: polyester, acrylic, and nylon. Let us move on to study how the plant fibers, that is, cotton and jute, are obtained. Here we are in the cotton fields. You will find cotton fields in areas having black soil and warm climate. Notice how the cotton balls look. This cotton wool, as we may call it, is used for filling pillows, quilts, and mattresses. It is indeed interesting to note the process by which cotton wool is processed into fibers. The cotton wool is first picked by hand. The fibers are then separated from the seeds by combing. This process is called as ginning. Machines are also used for ginning. Let us now study the jute fibers. This is how the jute plant looks. Where do you think are the fibers obtained from? No, not from the leaves, but from the stems. The jute plant is planted in the rainy season. When the plant is at the flowering stage, it is cut, and the stems are immersed in water for a few days. The stems rot, and the fibers are separated by hand. Thus, we have seen that cotton fibers are obtained through the process called combing or ginning. On the other hand, the jute fibers are obtained from the rotten stem. We shall now study the process of processing fiber to yarn. Pull out the fibers from cotton and twist them to get the yarn. This process is called as spinning. There are two hand-operated devices that can be used for spinning. One is the hand spindle or takli, and the other is the charkha. Does charkha remind you of some important personality? Our beloved Bapuji popularized charkha by encouraging people to wear homespun cotton clothes. Today, spinning is done on commercial scale with the aid of machines. Once fibers are processed into yarn, is the time to get fabrics from yarn. Let us go through the process of making fabrics. The two main processes for making fabrics from yarn are weaving and knitting. Let us understand the first process, weaving. If you arrange yarns together and tie them, you get a fabric. This process of arranging the two sets of yarn is called as weaving. Let us perform an activity here. Take two sheets of papers of different colors. Cut square pieces of length and width equal to 30 centimeters from each sheet. Now, fold both the sheets into half. On one sheet, draw lines as shown on both the papers. Cut both the sheets along the dotted lines and then unfold. Weave the strips one by one through the cuts of sheet of paper. Papers form a pattern after weaving all the strips. Weaving of two sets of yarn is done on looms. Looms are either hand-operated or power-operated. Unlike weaving, where two sets of yarn are woven, in knitting, only one yarn is used to make the fabric. You must have noticed ladies knitting articles using wool. Notice that the single yarn is used to make the fabric. Socks and many other clothing items are made of knitted fabrics. Knitting is done by hand and also on machines. Summary. Let us revise what we have learned in this section. There is a variety of clothing material or fabric, such as cotton, silk, wool, and polyester. Fabrics are made from yarns, which in turn are made from fibers. Fibers are either natural or synthetic. Cotton, wool, silk, and jute are some natural fibers, while nylon and polyester are some examples of synthetic fibers. Fibers like cotton and jute are obtained from plants. The process of making yarn from fibers is called spinning. Fabrics from yarns is made by weaving and knitting. That is it for now. See you in the next session. Till then, keep learning.